All right, welcome to my show. I said, welcome to my show. Yeah, welcome to my show. Yeah. Hello, everyone. This is the Serena Medicina show, and I am your host, Serena Medicina. I'm here to talk about all things whack and crazy and absolutely fucking mind-blowing and make you sometimes go like, this bitch nuts. Or maybe even bring up some ancestral things of like, this witch should be burned. Either way, all opinions are welcome. We'll explore topics of everything going on in the planet right now and reality, and how do we actually create reality, and how the hell did we create this kind of reality? You know what I mean? I think you know exactly what I mean with everything that happens on this beautiful planet we call home, Mother Earth, Gaia, Pachamama, whatever you want to call her. She's here and she's ready for us to listen and pay attention and start to actually create and be fucking human beings like we were meant to be on this planet. My only request of you is that you use your discernment with all of this information. I'm not asking you to believe everything I say, and I'm definitely not asking you to go along with what I say. I ain't about to start another fucking cult on this planet. What I am wanting to do is just to open minds, open perceptions, unlock dimensions and different realities so that we can broaden our perception, broaden our perspective, and actually make sovereign choices on what reality we want to interact with. And that, my friends, is the essence of what I'm doing here. So get your popcorn or your pitchforks, whatever you need for this, and let's get right into it. So, episode 1. Damn, here we go, diving in the deep end. Okay, so we're going to be talking about things that will open your mind and your perception, as I said in my introduction. And like how does one actually open their mind and their perception? Well, meditation for one, talking to other people for 2, or sitting out in nature and talking to no one. Anyway, I jabber on. I'll do that a lot in this. I'll just jabber on about things. But basically, opening your mind, if you had to think of everything as a metaphor, everything is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for something else. And, like how people say, what's the shamanic meaning for an eagle? Who knows? Whatever you make it mean. It's your metaphor, it's your dream. Everything is a dream. And in that dream, it's about your consciousness and what you're creating with your reality. And sometimes our consciousness or ourselves or whatever we identify as well as the inner being, the eternal self, that part of us begins to expand. Now, if it expands in all directions and there's these little perception boxes and labels and things on the way, it's going to get a little bit uncomfortable. You're going to have to rip open those boxes. You're going to have to rip off those labels. And sometimes they're really stuck on like Band-Aids and it really hurts. But you know what? Once it's off you, it's fucking off and it's free. So it's not about clinging or identifying with anything that's being said. If we had to really see it all as it's just God's imagination. God is in source, the eternal being that's in you and me and everybody. And one day we'll see that, praying. Anyway, so that part of ourselves, the eternal self, that part of ourselves is dreaming. It's imagining. And imagination is I'm magic. Imagine that. So, imagination, and that's the dream. And imagination is our magic, it's our power. It's how we can choose and create our realities with our imagination and visioning what we want. And this is where we're at. This is the things that are happening on this planet, if you have to even look at that. It's like everything that's happening on this planet is a depiction of our imagination. So imagine that we live in a world where there are people who have this realization. They know this knowledge. They know that the imagination is it. they can influence the imagination. When you hypnotherapy, and it's very well known in hypnotherapy that you hypnotize yourself, all you need to be is just suggestible. And if you can get someone into a suggestible state, you can hypnotize them. Now, most of us, when we are in our suggestible states, it means we're maybe in a state of stress. We're not in our body. Because whenever we're stressed, our spirit dissociates. Now, your spirit is what kind of dissociates through trauma. It just hops out the body. It's like, I'm out of here, bitches, because I ain't going to experience this kind of pain right now. I don't know why I said it like that, but that's exactly what kind of happens is we can dissociate or really just completely step out of the body so that the spirit does not have to feel any suffering. Most people actually live their life like this. They walk around stressed out. And what happens to the brain when you're stressed? Well, the blood drains from the prefrontal cortex of your brain. And when the blood drains from there, it goes into the back of your brain, into your fight and flight responses, or your fight, flight, fawn, and freeze response. And you cannot actually think clearly. You're acting purely on your animal instincts. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the animal instincts except for, if you're just in a shopping center and you're wanting to buy some popcorn and you're not wearing a fucking mask and someone freaks out at you about it, and, that can maybe send you into some form of your fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. And being able to actually keep the nervous system regulated helps us to be able to respond better to situations that are happening in our environment. And this, my dear friends, is how evolution and adaptation occurs in human beings. Being able to adapt and evolve in our environment and the things that are happening around us, and being discerning as to what is the best course for us to take. Us as in our own individual self, our sovereignty as being. We have every right to choose how we would like to conduct ourselves in reality. And I quite like that word conduct, the whole entire English language and probably many other languages. I don't know them. I don't know the languages. I know there's many other languages. That English is quite a code language, like the Matrix. Like English is the code to the Matrix. And, to conduct yourself as a conductor of music, you can conduct some music, or you can conduct some shocking electricity through your system. And your nervous system is known to carry electrical currents. So how would you like to conduct the music that is you? You have that ability to conduct your entire being, from the physical being to all the other lovely, subtle, energetic dimensions that we cannot see. We can take sovereignty back. When we learn to know ourselves, we have the knowledge, and knowledge is power, and how you really use that knowledge is wisdom. Now, you can use that to exert your own will over others and take control, as the people in charge have done. Or, you can use that will and exert it to support, to be of service to your people and the earth itself, and be in this harmonious music, because that's what it is, harmony, the universe, one song, to be a part of that one song. Or are you going to be creating distortion? It's all our choice, and it's all how we would like to conduct the music. Which actually leads me on to the next subject, the music of you. We are sound, light, and vibration. So even our entire physical body is made up of sound, light, and vibration. Meaning you are vibrating sound constantly. You have strings that are playing music. You are the singer to reality, and you are the siren, the sirena that brings in what you want just through your word. Because in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. So welcome, God, to your podcast. Every movement you make has a sound quality that we cannot even hear, because it's just the way that we're wired at this very current moment. And we do have an ability to actually hear movement. It's like the ability to sense things around us is the ability to actually hear it or feel it on some level. So you're using your sense. And I'll actually be going into the senses in a later stage and how many we actually have and how we actually use them and develop them. And now we're going to go a little bit down into the rabbit hole, because on our lovely planet, we do have sounds and frequencies and vibrations that are quite harmful to the human body. For example, I'll go with the most obvious one is, let's say, McDonald's food, right? The vibration of this food is so low density. If you had to look up David Hawking's scale of consciousness, you can see the different vibrations on where our consciousness can sit. And even foods and things in our reality can sit at these different levels of consciousness. And places like McDonald's have this very low frequency vibration. And why would it actually have that low frequency vibration? Well, for one, there is some food in there, possibly, that comes straight from the earth, maybe a piece of old lettuce. But essentially, everything that's there has been processed through man. And now there's absolutely nothing that's wrong with processing things through the species of human. But their intentions, their thoughts, their feelings, and everything that they're experiencing while they're making that is going into the food. Because that's how powerful we are. Thought is a vibration. It's an energy. And if we're not aware of our thoughts and our feelings and what's going on for us internally while we are creating something, i.e. a burger or a baby or whatever you're creating, if you're not aware of your intentions and your perceptions and your thoughts, you are creating with that energy. So for one, not only is the food coming from really damaging places where the intentions of the animals used is not pure, as in, and I don't mean like pure virgin little child, or angelic pure. It's like not that pure. I mean pure as in all knowing, as in it's coming from your heart, the purest part of you, the most loving part of you. And, and I'm not talking about purest things here. It's like, I'm not meaning pure as in clean, but that does sort of apply to it. It just comes from an awareness, right? So when we make things with awareness, we are putting that vibration that we're aware of into the things we are creating. This is something that all ancient cultures knew. This is a great, beautiful tradition, and things that women would do is we would know that if you are creating something, you have to put your intentions into it. That's the whole point of making the magic. It's the whole point of ritual. Every full moon, these witches come out and they're like, let's put down intentions, because they know in a couple of full moons or in the next one, that thing could actually happen. And it's because we are creating reality with our thought and vibrations constantly. It's like so constant, it's actually fucking overwhelming. Like every breath in is taking in the information. Every breath out is letting it go, meaning creating with it. So it gets a little bit like, fuck, that's a lot of shit that I'm creating all the time. And I would just say to that, well, welcome to karma. It's a bit of a ride, but you'll get used to it. So yes, we create every day with karma. It's like karma is the core law of cause and effect. Everything you do has an opposite and equal effect. And that doesn't mean like, do harm and harm happens to you. It's more like, what were your intentions? What were your thoughts? How are you feeling when you created that moment in time? That will determine what kind of effect happens later. So it's really a big thing, to call us into like living intentionally, like really fucking being aware. And hell, whoa, that is pretty tough. It's pretty tough, I'm not going to lie. Like, who on this planet doesn't have any shadow work to fucking do? Yeah. So being aware is really tough because we also have these beautiful mechanisms in our mind and our ego that are there to protect us, these psychological defenses. And these are so wonderfully taught to us by our parents and, the trauma that they caused us or reality caused us. And, like whether you're willing to admit that your parents traumatized you or not is another story, which I won't really get into right now. But, there's a lot of people out there who really can't admit to the mistakes of their parents. And that's okay. That's, like, it's like, when you're holding on to some stuff, that's okay. Like, it's totally valid. And then there's also some people out there who definitely know their parents fucked up, but they still kind of believe everything their parents told them about them or made them feel about them. Because, as children, we really feel and see everything, right? We are aware of our parents' thoughts, even though we can't intellectualize the language of what they're saying. We know the energy and the vibration being flung at us. And, sometimes if, the parents being like, I love you, honey, just eat your food, like really stressed out, that they're stressed out, but like you kind of have to admit that, like they're right, like they do love me, even though they feel this weird, tense feeling towards me. Our parents really felt a lot of annoyance sometimes, like, it's like fucking tough being on planet Earth. So they would have felt that kind of stuff and been telling us a different story. So parts of the things of how our parents felt towards us and maybe thought about us without our conscious awareness is still in our systems. And this is where all your beliefs come from. There's like sneaky beliefs, and they can just be anything and everything. And I won't really get into that now. Like you kind of have an idea, I'm pretty sure if you're listening this far, that you definitely know that you might have some belief systems or core beliefs that are in the way of creating the reality that you would like to create. Because, sometimes we can have the right intentions and the heart for it. It's just our, basically like can be our frequency that we're at. We can have really low belief systems and defeating belief systems that will get in the way in the sense that, like I want to make a lot of money. Well, I don't believe I should have money. It can be something like that. And, that's just infiltration from the system, and it's passed down through each generation. Sorry to go so far in that. But it's really a thing that this system is so beautifully created. Like it's as intricate as the planet itself, but also the planet's just, she's just winning the game here in terms of evolutionary genius. And these systems basically, they infiltrate your thoughts. It's a psychological warfare that we are in at the moment, and that's, this is what I'm trying to get people to understand and to realize that not only have we not really been taught how to take care of our physical bodies. I mean, some of us had really amazing parents to teach us what to eat, how to eat, and what's good for us and what's not good for us. But none of us were taught about the psychic side of things, right? It's like the physical, like you could just see the physical reality is like 1% of the entire spectrum, if even that. Like I'm exaggerating with 1% here. And if that's 1%, then the rest is something that we're not even aware of yet. And we haven't actually become aware of it. And that is something I would like to help people with, because it's important that we know. You want to understand how these belief systems and these thought processes actually work. And you also want to be discerning as to what energy is within your consciousness. It's like there's so many people out there who would just throw aside what I'm saying. But if you had to look at marketing, everything in marketing is suggestible. It's suggesting to you that you aren't good enough and you need to change something, therefore spend the money. And that is infiltrating your consciousness. It's changing the way you think about yourself so that you can do something. And that's in the essence is if we had to reverse that or invert it, it's like we can actually infiltrate our own consciousness or create what we want and penetrate reality with that. We can really do that as people and just, like I wish we could just get rid of all marketing, but it has good uses and there's always somebody out there who's going to fuck it up for everyone. And peace be upon them. We want to create cool shit, like real stuff that's actually in alignment, with the planet. And if we can actually get in alignment with the planet, that's where the abundance is. Because all abundance comes from Pachamama, the earth. And how would I say abundance comes from it? Well, she grows your food. She gives you everything you need. She gives you the air. She can even help you create shelters by her resources. And yes, there is an infinite abundance here on this planet. And I'm sure many of you know that how do we tap into that abundance? Well, we have to get into the abundance consciousness, which is the connected consciousness, being connected to planet Earth. Our root chakra is related to our physical body. And our root chakra is a wheel or disc of energy. We have these energy centers within our physical body. And at the base of our spine, or as I have envisioned it in myself, is in the perineum or the cervix for women. It's the connection to the earth, our roots, so to speak. And our entire collective has got one big root chakra problem. We are either in excess or in deficiency, and our root chakra is all about safety and security and stability in our reality and our home and our physical bodies and our well-being. And it's so deep. And when we are connected to the planet, we are connected to our abundance. And if we're connected to the planet and our abundance, we're connected to our root chakra and we're actually embodied. We're in our physical beings. We're not operating at some higher level just in the mind and thinking of our body as a machine because, yes, it can be some kind of biological machine, but it's so much more than that, like limiting language, So I have dived into some pretty deep topics in this first episode. Went a lot deeper than I thought it would. And I'm going to keep exploring different topics in each episode and really unpacking different things so that we can just look at them from different perspectives. It's not about, as I said, it's not about attaching to things. It's not about believing them as real. It's just taking a step back and just looking at it. That's it. Like just admiring the picture, this weird picture of planet Earth and humanity, and just being like, damn, what a fucking masterpiece. So that's it. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a fantastic week.